Well, JK Rowling has come under more scrutiny this week because the Harry Potter author founded a rape shelter in Scotland that is for biological women only. How dare she? The shelter is called Beta. I looked up how to say it, and it doesn't sound nice coming out of my mouth, but
that sounds like Portuguese the way you said it.
It does.
But it's a Scottish. It's like
Beira.
a Celtic. Beira,
yes,
Scottish.
Scottish. It's the Scottish goddess of winter. Now here is the Independent, where a man is going to tell us why this is offensive. This man named Ryan Coogan says that this is the final nail in the coffin for her reputation because she had a rape shelter that closed its doors to the trans community. So why is this so damning? Well, here's what he says. He says, I think this latest venture more or less solidifies her heel turn. Beta's Place, a women-only service for victims of sexual abuse that will be located in Edinburgh. The service is described as being set up by women for women. The website reads, there are a number of services in Lothian and indeed across Scotland that provide support to male survivors of domestic and sexual abuse. However, there are few, if any, that are strictly women only. He thinks that's an offensive thing to say, this man.
I'm glad this man is telling us.
Yeah, and has anybody verified that doesn't include trans? Does she specifically say no trans?
Yes.
Is it on the
this
door?
Is the yes, okay. And this is this is
the entire point, right?
This is the point. It says there are lots of sexual assault survivors spaces that welcome both genders, but this can be fraught for women who have been abused by men and they want single-sex spaces, and this is an unmet need, and we are going to say this is by women for women. And there are other places that trans women can go to. There are not places that are only for women. Now, the spokesperson, the bottom of this quote says, we believe that women deserve to have certainty that in using our services, they will not encounter anyone who is male. Where appropriate, we will refer men or individuals identifying as trans women to other appropriate services. So they're not saying, screw you, get out of here, we don't believe your story or we don't think you need help. Quite the opposite. They're saying we will support these people to go to other spaces so that women can have places for rehabilitation. So I love that this man here in The Independent is telling me that women don't need this, that it's unnecessary.
Point out a story right here in the United States. There was a lady who went to the hospital and she didn't want to be cared for by a man. And the hospital puts a trans woman in there, and she freaked out about it. And so they denied her the surgery or whatever she was there to get.
That was in the UK, I think.
Oh, UK? Okay. So, but still, that's what she's talking about. There's a reason that woman feels that way. And why are her feelings, suppressed? But everybody just has to accept that, however the trans people want it. That's the end all be all. If you don't agree with us, screw you.
Yeah, so they have a guy. Okay, I don't want a guy to be involved in this surgery. I really just want a woman to be able to handle this. Fine. Then we'll send a trans woman in. Still's got a penis. Doesn't matter. Still a biological man. I don't care that she's now wearing a dress now.
Is not anti-trans rhetoric. It has nothing to do with trans. It's only saying that women need single-sex spaces, period. That is the only assertion. And trans activists are making this about them, saying, by excluding us. I mean, men could make the same argument. By excluding us as men who are not trans, but just men, you're leaving us out.
Wait, yeah, exactly. So good point, right? It's a women's rape center for women. Not trans women.
And women are not
men
are not raped by women. Right. By and large, women are raped by men.
Yes.
And so if you've been raped by a man, do you have the right to be in a place where no man is going to be? Now, couple this with the fact that being trans is highly associated with anxiety. So do you want to be in a place, if you are a survivor of an assault with a biological man who has anxiety? Does that maybe make it less safe for you or your perception of it? And does your perception matters if you've just survived an assault?
Yeah.
And you say, I just want to be, in a place where other women are menstruating and, feeding their babies and talking about things that are,
those guys, those trans women in New York were threatening to punch those women in the face for just wanting a space to hang out with other women, to talk about women's things.
Right.
Yes. This is fueling the narrative that trans people are the subject of violence, which is not proven. The statistics just don't bear that out. We see that many times trans people are more likely to commit the violence than be the victim of it. And no matter what people want to say on MSNBC, that's just the data. This doesn't make all trans people violent, not at all. But it does not prove that they are at a higher risk. In fact, in male prisons, they say, well, these trans women can't be in male prisons because they're more likely to get raped there, which actually they're equally likely to get raped there as gay men and young men, equal. And we don't take gay men out of male prisons. We don't take young men out of male prisons. This is more of a male prisons thing that doesn't have to do with trans. It just doesn't. Now, the linchpin of this charity by JK Rowling is that her money is the biggest asset because Beta is funded solely by Rowling. It's not set up as a charity. So activists cannot petition the Charities Commission to close it down. But they would.
Oh, yeah. That's
the thing, that they would say, no, girls, you can't have a single sex space. We're going to shut that down so that we can get in there. Now, people, again, who will oppose this say that it harms trans people, not considering that this is the only single-sex rape shelter in Edinburgh. All others do welcome biological males, so they do have a place to go. Again, it's not even about trans identity. It's about protecting women's spaces for just women. Speaking of reordering society around, gender identity, a lesbian artist in Norway is under investigation for saying that men cannot be lesbians. You see how far the gay rights movement has come, that now we are demonizing women for wanting to be lesbians with biological women. This is what she said on Facebook. She says, it's just as impossible for men to become lesbians as it is for men to get pregnant. Men are men, regardless of their sexual fetishes. So men with fetishes have been protected as a vulnerable minority through this, constructed concept of gender is cuckoo. Now, this is Facebook's translation, and I'm not sure if cuckoo is. I'm assuming that's what she means.
From Norwegian.
From Norwegian. So she's saying, hey, men should not be here in lesbian spaces. We literally fought a civil rights war around gay rights. Can we still be gay? Is that okay? And the government saying no. Now she's under investigation and faces prison time for saying that lesbians should have rights
because of this Facebook post.
Mm-hmm. So,
we've lost our
this
minds.
Is incredibly homophobic. We should be past this by now, but it's gone absolutely backwards. I don't understand it, but I stand with JK Rowling. Is something that trends pretty much every day these days, and I do too.
Yeah, she's a hero. Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have...
The thing is, you see this happening in these other countries, and everybody's like, oh, this can't happen here. It's happened in Canada, it's happened in Sweden, it's happened in Norway, and they have a task force in the United States that is working on legislation with the Attorney General, with Kamala Harris, with all these high-level people working on legislation to do the exact same thing. Misgender someone, it is a federal hate crime.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Imagine that you post a tweet about, I don't know, somebody who, transitioned.
About a man who wants to tell you that you have to sleep with me because I'm a woman now, and that if your lesbianism is not a real thing and I can be a lesbian too. No, that's sexual aggression. This is another way.
Yeah,
and so
it makes me worried about, think about dating sites. In dating sites, they feel now that they don't have to identify, let you know that they are a trans woman. So it's now, if I happen to go on a date and I find out that was a male, I can no longer get angry, or I could be possibly committing a federal hate crime.
Yeah, and then the reason they're going to do that is because they'll get sued. So I don't know what these dating sites are.
No, lesbians are kicked off of lesbian websites all the time for saying biological women only. They are not supposed to have genital preference, which is what a lesbian is, you guys.
Can you imagine someone has the balls to start their own dating site that's like, this is biology only, like biological
lesbians only, biological homosexuals only.
Yeah, it would totally get shut down.
Post it anywhere. Yeah,
isn't that
Amazon
amazing?
Wouldn't accept the servers.
No, I just want to date a woman.
Right.
Sorry.
And so
it's going to be a crapshoot. You go out to dinner with this person tonight. You might reach under that table and you might feel a penis. I'm just saying.
Hey, nice to meet you. I don't mean to be forward, but can I check your genitalia really quick before we move any further?
What's Philip going to say?
I think that I was just going to say that, like, for me, it's like, in a sense, erasing preferences. Like, you're not allowed to have preferences.
Because it absolutely is.
There are plenty of people out there that don't care, that wouldn't care if you were born a biological male and then you've transitioned, they would still date you. So date them. Like, why try to force, like, and I'm not even saying, like, I'm all for, like, like, recognizing if you're like, want the pronoun woman, that's fine with me. I don't care. But, like,
preferences.
To
you should
erase
be able to
other
have your
people's
preferences.
Yeah. It's just like, that's the part that bothers me. That's really the part that bothers me.
Some people are saying the Crocodile Dundee test. Do you remember that?
Oh,
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is, like, you're all of a sudden transphobic if you feel that way. But the thing is, it's like that's they're forcing their preference on you. My preference is not the same as theirs, but just because it's not the same as theirs, I have to abide by theirs because my preference is all of a sudden negated. Why? Because I'm a white dude? Like, what is the reason mine are no longer valid?
Well, genital preference is transphobic, and that's how that's not what I'm saying, but that's how the logic goes.
That's what they say.
So you are not allowed to have any genital preference, which again erases homosexuality completely then. Totally, right? And so there is no LGBTQ whatever. There is only TQ what comes after that, right? And so that's why there is a movement of LGB without the T in order to say, hey, we won our rights to exist and marry decades ago. Why are we back here?
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at Redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to Redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.